Welcome back. In today's video, we're going to be talking about the city of Baldur's Gate, but in modern times. And by modern times, I don't mean 2020, thank God. I'm more so referring to the 15th century of the Forgotten Realms, more specifically in 1492 Dal Reckoning, which should only be a few years before the start of Baldur's Gate 3. I'm going to start off talking a little history of the city, but the majority of the video will be about the city's current government, military, citizens, religion, and more. And at the end, we'll talk about the dangers that you should look out for in this city. Before we get started, I want to say thank you to a recent patron of the channel, Daniel Solly. I really appreciate it, man. And I'm also going to be referencing Sebastian's map in this video, only at certain parts. If you guys like his map, make sure to check out his other stuff. I'll put links to all of that below. So without further ado, let's talk about the city of Baldur's Gate. Centuries ago, along the Chianthar River, close to the Sea of Swords, lied a small village by the name of Grey Harbor. One of the residents of this village, a seafaring explorer by the name of Baldur, returned to Grey Harbor after years of questing in lands across the sea. He brought with him a vast amount of treasure and gifted much of this wealth to friends, family, and the village as a whole. With this newfound wealth, Grey Harbor began rapidly growing with new business, an expanded dock network for trade, and of course a defensive wall that was put up around the town that citizens would call Baldur's Gate. This was of course in honor of Baldur and his good deeds. Over a short period of time, Grey Harbor would begin making a significant impact on the Sword Coast, and would grow to become the city of Baldur's Gate. As the city grew, violence broke out over the formation of laws and taxation, which led the city to form a new group of rulers known as the Dukes, who were elected to help try and keep the city in order. Collectively, they were known as the Council of Four, which remained a major part of Baldur's Gate's government ever since. The council, however, was not enough, and one day an adventurer by the name of Elton united the city's independent mercenary companies under a single banner, that of the Flaming Fist. The Flaming Fist, although far from perfect themselves, began disbanding pockets of disorder and punishing those who would break the law. So there's some quick history on how the city came into existence. Now let's get into what you should expect to see in present age Baldur's Gate. Baldur's Gate is currently divided into three sections: the upper city, the lower city, and the outer city. The original wall protecting the upper city still stands, but now a second wall has been formed around the lower city as well. The upper city is home to the wealthy, comprised of patriarch families and government officials jostling to secure their positions. The lower city serves as the mercantile hub, housing the city's docks along with a great many businesses, inns, taverns, and temples. The outer city was a nearly lawless place and was where the world washes up against the city's gates. Crime and poverty are contrasted by wonders from afar and the riches of cultures across Faerun. The city of Baldur's Gate was a fairly diverse city, although humans were the most common race. Cultures and faiths from all over were welcomed as long as they did not harm the citizens. The current population is around 125,000, but it's increasing from the refugee crisis from the neighboring city of Elturel. Baldur's Gate largely trades with the northern coastal cities of Waterdeep and Neverwinter, while contending with the aggressive mercantile nation of Amn to the south. Amn has goals to control all the trade on the Sea of Swords, and they viewed Baldur's Gate as a growing threat. War between Baldur's Gate and Amn almost always seems like it could be just around the corner. Because of these growing threats, Baldur's Gate joined the Lord's Alliance, which is a coalition of independent cities, which included Neverwinter, Waterdeep, and more. With this alliance, these cities had some comfort in their solidarity to help keep evil at bay. Now let's get more into the current government, military, and citizens of the city. A group known as the Parliament of Peers, composed of around 50 members, would make recommendations on issues of law and governance. Once a majority decision was made on an issue, the Parliament would present their position to the Council of Four, who holds the ultimate authority. The Council of Four consists of 4 elected dukes and convenes in High Hall, a fortress in the middle of the upper city. They control the Flaming Fist, the Navy, the tax collectors, the public utilities, and more. The Grand Duke of the city is a man by the name of Alder Ravengard. He is a fearless soldier who rose up through the ranks of the Flaming Fist and ultimately persuaded Parliament to elect him as the Grand Duke, while retaining control over the Flaming Fist. He was known to be a good leader, and his main concerns were the stability and prosperity of the city. Baldur's Gate currently holds two military forces, the Flaming Fist and the Watch. The Flaming Fist mostly protects the lower city, though it does hold some authority over the near-lawless outer city as well. Their symbol is a red and gold flaming fist, which can be seen throughout the city as well as on the soldiers' attire. Thousands of soldiers serve in this hired mercenary band, which does expand outside of Baldur's Gate as well. Native Baldurians, immigrants, former criminals, and retired adventurers can all be found among the ranks. The Watch is a force of officers that protect only the wealthy upper city. They are known as glorified bodyguards to those of the lower and outer city. The Watch ensures that the only people in the upper city are either residents, staff, or guests bearing an invitation. They operate out of the Citadel, which is a massive keep built into the city's upper walls. The Flaming Fist and the Watch do both serve very important roles, but criminal activity through bribery and other measures can certainly be noticed if one examines them closely. The citizens of Baldur's Gate include many races and ethnicities, and although certain prejudices do exist, as a whole the citizens tend to care more about business than ethnicity itself. Commoners had a much harder life than that of the patriarchs and soldiers, and because of this they would form collections of like-minded folk called crews. Crews served as forms of mutual protection from the Flaming Fist as well as the powerful wealthy upper city residents. Some of these crews became so powerful that even the Flaming Fist was hesitant to pick a fight with them. The most important crew to travelers to Baldur's Gate was called the Gate Guides, which primarily consisted of teenage lantern bearers that showed newcomers the ropes of the city, provided connections to other crews, and also offered some degree of protection. Patriarchs were the elite upper class of citizens and many times came from generations of nobility. Their money funds industries and lines political pockets. Some patriarchs are good for the city and fund expeditions and handle negotiations, but many also spend their days manipulating the city's powers to achieve their own selfish goals. So how about the common religions that you might find throughout the city? For religion seems to play an important role in many plots. As a Baldurian, you are legally permitted to worship whichever deity you wish, so long as you refrain from violent acts and practices that disrupt trade. Within the city of Baldur's Gate, you can find temples dedicated to a variety of gods, and the outer city is lined with hundreds of tiny shrines. The most notable deities include the Dead Three, which consists of three gods: Bane, the Lord of Tyranny, Baal, the Lord of Murder, and Myrkul, the Lord of Bones. The worshipping of the Dead Three was among the most corrupt evil practices that occurred in the city. Citizens that worshipped these gods, or demigods as they might be now, oftentimes chose one to dedicate their worship to. Those who served Bane were tyrannical soldiers that bullied citizens and always wanted to show power over those weaker than them. Those who served Baal lived to spill blood in the streets and were oftentimes assassins in the dark. And those who served Myrkul were many times necromancers or undead themselves, for Myrkul had the power to raise the dead. The Dead Three will play a big role in Baldur's Gate 3, so make sure to check out my dedicated lore video on them. I'll put a link below in the description. Gond was the god of innovation and invention and was worshipped mostly in the upper city. Helm was the god of guardians and protection, and those who saw themselves as protectors of the common folk, which included some commoners themselves as well as the Flaming Fist and the Watch, would pray to this god for guidance. Ilmater was the god of suffering and perseverance, and those who felt as if their suffering was worthy would worship this god. Even some of the wealthy from the upper city quietly prayed to this god, for some felt as if their life was one of secret torment and suffering. Ilmater taught those that worshipped him that there is some nobility in your pain. Agma was the lord of knowledge and was worshipped largely by artists, bards, sages, lore masters, scholars, and scribes. Seamorph was the goddess of nobility and divine right, but her temple was destroyed by rioters in the past, and since then the worship of her in the city has died down. Tymora was the goddess of good fortune, the lady of luck, and those who oftentimes relied on luck to get through life were the ones that primarily worshipped her. Her temple oftentimes served as a gathering place for adventurers seeking dangerous quests. And the last deity I will mention is Umberlee, the evil sea goddess known as the Queen of the Depths. She was most often worshipped by sailors out of fear of her destructive powers, and her adherents worked out of the Water Queen's house, a magnificent structure on the city's docks. For the last part of this video, I want to go over the 3 main dangers that you should look out for while in Baldur's Gate. Crime in the city seems to be a powerful force now, and the worship of evil deities is on the rise. One organization you should be wary of is known as the Guild. The Guild unites cut purses, loan sharks, killers, thugs, con artists, grave robbers, burglars, and the list goes on. The Guild operates cleverly under the noses of the Flaming Fist and the Watch by keeping their illicit activities quiet. Each neighborhood in the city falls under the control of one or more kingpins, which were crime bosses that reported to the head of the Guild. The Guild operates out of the Outer City, Lower City, and the Upper City. In the Outer City, they thrive on smuggling and gambling and can get away with a lot, for there's not much in terms of law and order outside the walls of the city. In the Lower City, the locals have enough money to make burglary and protection schemes worthwhile, and the Flaming Fist is spread too thin to make a true impact on ending their illegal activity. In the Upper City, the Guild engages in burglary, extortion, blackmail, and confidence games. Patriarchs with evil schemes have many reasons as to why they might hire the Guild to gain advantage over their rivals. The current leader of the Guild is known as Nine Fingers Keen. She appears to the world as an unassuming woman of middling age and build, and her rather forgettable looks work in her favor, for many have trouble recognizing her. The other organization or organizations that you should look out for are those that worship the Dead Three. We have already seen symbols of the Dead Three in the Baldur's Gate cinematic, and the Dead Three, mainly the Lord of Murder Baal, played a major role in Baldur's Gate 1 and 2. It's rumored that Bane, Baal, and Merkel, currently in demigod form, walk among mortals seeking more followers for their cause. It's even rumored that they might even walk the streets of Baldur's Gate at times. Like I said before, check out my lore video on the Dead 3 for a more in-depth look. And the last thing that you want to look out for, just maybe, are the evil space octopuses. The Mind Flayers are up to something, and it certainly doesn't seem like they're on any path to righteousness. I've also done a full lore video on the Mind Flayers, so if you're interested in that, it's somewhere on the channel, or I'll link it below in the description. They're definitely up to something in the city, only time will tell. Thanks so much for watching, guys. If you guys enjoyed the video, please like, comment, and subscribe. I really appreciate it. It's a huge help to my channel. I do all sorts of videos on this channel, ranging from live streams to comedy videos to game reviews to game tutorials and much more. I'd love to have some of you guys back for a future video. I already have the next video planned. Until next time.